A local polyphonic choir founded by elderly men with an average age of 68 in Borka district of Artvin has been added to UNESCO's Living Human Treasures list. This village on the Turkish-Georgian border keeps traditional songs alive via its choir, whose members' average age is 68. The eldest is 90 years old. Although the group members do not have any professional musical training, they perform at various events, singing folk songs that have mostly sunk into oblivion. Iran Culture and Tourism Ministry Secretary Ahmet Dursun gave the good news to the group's members. This choir member said they are keeping the tradition of their ancestors alive. Meanwhile, Ahmet Dursun said members of this group are all elderly, but they are as fit as the youth. They have been added to UNESCO's Living Human Treasures list. Chinese technicians are assembling a massive reflector on what will be the world's largest and most sophisticated radio telescope deep in the country's southwest mountainous area. The ambitious astronautics project, named 500-meter Aperture Spherical Telescope or FAST, owing to its 500-meter diameter, will be 3 times more sensitive than the Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico, which is currently the largest of its kind. Recently, Wuchang Shipbuilding Industry, a leading contractor for FAST, began assembling the dish, which is the size of 30 football fields combined. But ahead of the assembly process, workers had already gathered at the construction site in Guizhou province to conduct a final stress test. Built at a cost of 1.2 billion yuan or $196 million, the telescope is expected to be completed in September next year. The dish is made up of hundreds of thousands of small equilateral triangle units, which will be pieced together into 4,450 large panels. Cables fixed to the rear of each panel allow positions to be changed to within accuracy of 1 millimeter, ensuring the telescope receives signals from different angles, according to one designer. It is estimated that FAST equipped with multi-beam receivers could detect some 7,000 pulsars in the Milky Way galaxy in less than a year. But the most exciting goal of FAST is its search for extraterrestrial life, according to scientists working on the project. The fully modernized Indigenous Community Heritage Museum was opened at Kota Bakinia village in Dambana, Sri Lanka to coincide with the International Day of the World's Indigenous People. The International Day of the World's Indigenous People is observed on 9th of August every year to highlight the problems faced by them regarding human rights, environment and health. Around 500,000 indigenous people are living in 62 villages in 6 districts of Sri Lanka. Leaders of indigenous people in villages of Dambana, Ratugala, Polibeda, Hinangigala, Laukana and Wakari participated at the opening ceremony. A meeting of the community was also held. A sum of 20 million rupees was spent for the museum by the State Ministry of Cultural Affairs. It has several modern equipment like those being used in international museums. Lifestyles of indigenous people are displayed using audio-visual technology, and stalls depicting their culture are the highlights at the museum. Veda chieftain Uru Warige Wani Letho said that he is happy about the allocating of Indigenous Peoples Day by the United Nations in 1994. Fireworks from Nagaoka, central Japan have been set off at a friendship ceremony at Pearl Harbor in Hawaii. Nagaoka is a sister city of Honolulu and holds a summer fireworks show every year. About 10,000 people took part in the event at Pearl Harbor's Fort Island last week to commemorate the 70th anniversary of Japan's surrender in World War II. In a joint speech, children from Nagaoka and Honolulu said they will never forget the large number of people who lost their loved ones and were deprived of freedom during the war. They pledged that the young people around the globe will work to preserve peace for future generations.
I think it's important for Japan and America, you know, after following the war and becoming friends.
In conjunction with the 70th anniversary of Korea's independence from Japanese colonial rule, members of the Dokdo Coast Guard trekked to Mount Baekdu to reaffirm their commitment to safeguard Korea's territory. This is the first visit to Mount Baekdu by South Korean Coast Guards since the Dokdo Coast Guard was established in 1954. They climbed up the steep mountain trails and soaring cliffs, but hardly felt winded, for they were filled with excitement and anticipation. Hwang Yong-ki, Dokdo Coast Guard, said he realized on his way up that it's a bit like Dokdo. Early next morning, they braved the utter darkness as they headed toward the peak. After a long 7-day hike, Cheongji Lake at the top of Mount Baekdu revealed its magnificent self to stir up overwhelming emotions in the young men. Moments later, the group sang the Korean national anthem at the top of Mount Baekdu as the blazing sun rose above the mountain lake. Last month, the Hong Kong International Airport handled close to 200,000 passengers every day. But according to authorities, these people are now at an increased risk of becoming victims to a crime that's gone rampant: in-flight theft. Police figures indicate that in the first 7 months of 2015, there were 45 cases. That's 15 more than the number of such cases reported in the same period of 2014. And the estimated value of the stolen goods was at almost $3 million by the end of July. Again, a value that surpasses last year's number. According to police, these air thieves hail mostly from the mainland of Southeast Asia. They usually target hand luggage in overhead compartments while the victims are asleep or in the toilet. Cash and jewelries are among those most favored goods. And while last year no theft was reported in business class, in 2015 there have already been 4 such cases. Police say thieves are beginning to target business class passengers. That's because they think these passengers are richer and thus more likely to carry valuable goods. Police also advise passengers to keep an eye on their hand luggage at all times and to consider using locks to protect it. They say they are cooperating and sharing information with airlines in order to fight this increasingly common type of crime. One of the challenges they face is a somewhat limited legal framework. Currently, the theft ordinance covers only Hong Kong registered planes, such as those from Dragon Air or Cathay Pacific. Overseas registered planes, even when inside Hong Kong airspace, are not covered. Instead, in order to prosecute thieves on these planes, Hong Kong authorities have to use disorderly conduct provisions in the Aviation Security Ordinance. However, while under theft laws, thieves can be punished with up to 10 years in prison, under aviation legislation they can be put behind bars for a maximum of only 2 years. Confronted with the information presented in this story, the Security Bureau said it remains open-minded towards the need to amend relevant laws. Despite being fully blind, they have not just empowered themselves, but are also guiding blind girls and boys towards education and career opportunities. Satish Nawali, Hanumant Joshi and Jaideep Kanwal, 3 young men from Pune, are here in Dras, Kargil for the Kargil Vijay Diwas celebrations. They feel the MiG-21 aircraft by touching its body. Accompanied by their longtime teacher Sunil Ranjani from Pune, they are escorted by 2 soldiers from the 16 Maratha Light Infantry. Captain Jabez Philip explains to them the parts of the fighter jet which they imagine in their mind's eye. This visit is nothing short of a pilgrimage for them, enchanted as they were since Sunil Ranjani read out the Colonel Sham Shavan's book along to them in school. Satish Nauli, founder of Prerna, said that the 3 founded the self-help group Prerna. Hanumant Joshi, who is a social science and psychology graduate, has ensured that every blind young boy and girl that reaches Prerna gets education and a livelihood. Hanumant Joshi, who is also a founder of Prerna, said Captain Philip and Ranjani held them by their hands and made them read the memorial stones at the war memorial. Here in Kargil, the 3 friends launched their radio station Braille Vani and interviewed the families of martyrs and gallantry award winners for their radio station. Jaideep Kanwal, also another founder of Prerna, said the 3 friends have been celebrating Diwali with the troops every year since 2003. They have visited the Wagah border, the Indo-China border at Bumla and the Indo-Pak border.
Whenever I'm nervous, actually I go with them. I stay with them. Just speaking for half an hour with them, your spirits or your problems or everything, they go, they just wash away.
More than 200,000 Buddhists and other believers last Friday thronged Lhasa, capital of the Tibet Autonomous Region, for the start of the traditional Shoton festival. It kicked off at Drepung Monastery, the largest monastery of Tibetan Buddhism's Gelug sect, where a 40-meter-long Thangka painting of the Buddha was exhibited. Buddhists from around Tibet started to gather in Lhasa from the small hours of Friday. At around 7 a.m., lamas started to carry it to the monastery main hall. Believers hurled ceremonial white scarves on it and prayed. People recorded the rite with their mobile phones. Long Mei, a visitor from Chengdu, southwest China's Sichuan province, said when she saw the Buddha, especially so many pious believers, she feels really shocked.
For us, that we came for so far in the West, it's a one-in-a-lifetime experience.
The Shoton Festival, also known as the Yogurt Banquet Festival, is a week-long gala held every year since the 11th century. It was originally a religious occasion during which locals would offer yogurt to monks who had finished meditation retreats. This year's festival was held on August 14th to 20th. Local authorities used 150 buses to ferry believers around and introduced traffic controls for the busy period around the start of the festival. Free bottled water was offered and doctors were on standby for emergency cases.